years, they have been the dominant football force in Ontario University athletics. The McMaster Marauders, as they go for the Yates Cup again against a new challenger, the Queen's Golden Gaels, who have moved over to become the #1 competition this year from the Ontario-Quebec Conference. And today, Hamilton is sellout city. Les Prince Field, not a ticket available since last night. They are even selling standing room only tickets, almost unheard of in Canadian inter-university football. What they are battling for, the Yates Cup, emblematic of Ontario football supremacy, and the two teams have followed a similar road. Blowout victories in Game 1 of their playoff battles, and in Game 2, they both had pull-away victories. The two games were tied until the fourth quarter when both McMaster and Queens pulled away. Not only are they #1 and 2 in Ontario, they are #1 and #2 across the country. Manitoba, the previous unbeaten team, fell last week to Saskatchewan and has dropped out of the playoff picture. And it should be a terrific battle of contrasting styles. Queens, the lethal passing offense against McMaster, which likes to eat the clock, control the ball on the ground, and nobody does it better than the Marauders do. Tom Dennison and Brian Crawford, two of Queens' offensive heroes from last week, they're both local boys. Between them, more than 100 fans are here to watch them today. The last time this happened earlier in the year, McMaster beat Queens here on a last-second field goal. And with more on the game, let's send it to Tim McAuliffe and Ben Chapdelaine.
All right, thanks a lot, Elliot. When you talk about this football game, you talk contrasting styles. The #1 passing game in the OUA versus the #1 rushing game. Let's start with the Golden Gaels, and when you talk about Queens, you have to talk about Tommy Dennison. What a year this man had. Not only did he break Dan Faraday's OUA record, but he broke Greg Vavra of Calgary's CIS record. Then in the playoffs, the semifinals versus Western, 561 yards in the air, passing Warren Goldie. We know what he can do. What can't this guy do?
Well, you know what? He can do pretty much everything a quarterback needs to do. He can throw the ball way downfield to his outside receivers. He can throw it down the middle into coverage, and he can run the ball fairly well. So it's going to be a tough afternoon for the defensive line on the McMaster side, but Tommy Dennison's got some confidence in the pocket. His receivers believe in him. Look for the Gaels to go to their TD man.
And when you talk about McMaster, you got to talk about Kyle Peer and the running game. In the CIS, he led all rushers by over 300 yards. And what does Kyle Peer bring banging the football?
Well, you know what? He can punch it down the middle. He can bounce it out to the outside, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield. So you're going to see Kyle Peer handle the ball 30, 40, even maybe up to 50 times this afternoon if they have to. But look for Kyle Peer to be the #1 carrier for the McMaster Marauders.
Ben, we talked earlier about imposing your will, and he who imposes his will in this football game will win. If they both impose their will, we're in for a classic. Let's send it back to Elliot Friedman. Elliot?
Thank you, Tim. I'm here with McMaster head coach Greg Marshall. And Greg, you go after this formidable Queens offense without one of your top defenders, Ray Marius. How much more difficult will that make the challenge this week?
Oh, it'll make it a big challenge. You know, Ray's an outstanding player, and he's the captain and the quarterback of our defense. So, you know, the other guys got to pick it up, and I'm sure that they will today.
It's a lot of talk about run versus pass. You have the best ground game in the country. Can it run against this Queens defense and eat the clock?
We sure hope so. We got to keep the ball away from Tommy Dennison. But we're going to mix it up, run and pass, and we hope that our backs have a good day.
Thanks very much, Greg. Good luck today. That is McMaster head coach Greg Marshall. His team and the Queens Golden Gaels kick off when University Rush continues on The Score.
Welcome back to a sold-out Les Prince Field on the campus of McMaster University as we are set to kick off the 104th Yates Cup. And Mike Ray does the honors. Queens in their throwback golds. Sean McKinnon takes the kickoff. McKinnon up across the 20 where he is met by a host of Marauder special teams tacklers, and that's where the Queens Golden Gaels offense will start under the tutelage of one Tommy Dennison. And Dennison has had an amazing year, to say the least, throwing for almost 4,000 yards in 10 games, 29 TDs, and a 61.8 completion percentage.
Well, that's pretty high, and you know, looking at that, you can say whenever he feels comfortable throwing the ball, he delivers it, and the receivers catch it.
You won't see much of this. Under center is Dennison. Lone set back Brian Crawford. They fake the draw. Over the middle, and it is picked off. Jesse Card comes up with the interception early for McMaster. And for the Marauders, you couldn't have picked a better way to start this football game.
Well, they talked about it all week with the coaches on the defensive side of the ball with McMaster. They wanted to have big plays. First play of the game, huge play by the MAC defense. Jesse Carr with a big interception right down the middle. Exactly where he wanted to be. He does a great athletic job of catching the ball, and off he goes.
Looked like the ball slipped out of Dennison's hand. Maybe a little jacked up in this Yates Cup, and it just squeezing the ball a little hard.
Well, the emotions will be flying around all day, and that could be part of it right off the beginning.
So we switch. John Behe leads the McMaster offense out into the field, and this crowd is jacked. The lone setback is Kyle Peer. He will hand the ball off to Peer. Cut back by Peer, and he is met and wrapped up. McLennan doing the job from his halfback spot.
Well, that was a great job by Kurt McLennan to come up, make a big hit on Kyle Peer. Not as, nothing flying around, no helmets coming off of Kyle's head, but he stopped him and he pushes him back, at least for only a 2-yard gain.
John Behe in his first year from Burlington in the biggest game of his life, no doubt.
Well, you know what? It's interesting that he's already in this in his first year in the Yates Cup final. It took a long time at McMaster to get into the Yates Cup, and for him to be in this game and to be able to throw the ball and to hand the ball off to good caliber people like Kyle Peer and Jesse Lumsden is a pretty good thing.
And Lumsden is a setback. Kyle Peer in motion is the lead blocker. Lumsden pushing forward, trying to muscle his way towards the first down marker. It looks like he'll be short. We'll have to see if Mike Ray makes an appearance.
Well, Coach Marshall talked about it this week. Any points you get in a game like this are important, and he's got great confidence in Mike Ray as we see him running out on the field to line up for a field goal. So any 3 points that McMaster can get, they'll line up for it.
Well, Mike Ray does lead the OUA and is second in the CIS and scoring a first-team OUA All-Star. 25 of 37 on the year with a long of 47. This one will be much shorter. In fact, it'll be marked at the 27-yard line. So McMaster looking to take advantage of an interception in Tom Dennison. They're few and far between, and he has missed it. McMaster only gets 1 point off a turnover on the first play from scrimmage. And that was a rarity to see Mike Ray miss a field goal.
It certainly was, especially from this far out. 23 or 27-yard lines out. It's not that bad. They'll take the point and line up again.
So Mike Ray misses the field goal, and back comes Tom Dennison. They will take over on the 35, conceding the single point. 1-0 McMaster early. We said we wouldn't see a lot of Dennison under center, and immediately no one in the backfield. Dennison in the shotgun. Sprint out, looking to Craig Spear. Spear makes the catch, pushed out of bounds. First down yardage for the Queens offense. And let's have a look at that Queens offense. Across the offensive line, the big fellas, Ramsey Ida. He's a second-team OUA All-Star. And John Landon, the center, is a big part of this offense. As for the backs and receivers, at wide, Craig Spear and Jonathan Fruit. The slot backs, a big, big part of the offense. Brad Smith and Ian Fleming. So it's first down, 10 to go. After throwing the pick, Dennison responds with a quick 10-yard gain, and he will hand the ball off. It's Andrew Smith who gains 5 yards to the 50-yard line.
You know what? Great tempo to the opening of this game. Although Queens came out with an interception right from the beginning, they've got confidence that their quarterback can deliver the ball and keep going.
All right, let's have a look at McMaster's defense. Mike Gal back in there at the defensive end spot. He had been injured. Colin Shanahan, Big Daddy, a big part of that. Manny Furtado, Botterill, and Pottinger in there because of the injury to Ray Marius. Another shotgun formation for the Queens Golden Gales. Second down, 5 to go. Furtado coming on the blitz, and Pottinger, we mentioned him coming in for Ray Marius, and he makes a Ray Marius-like play.
Well, he certainly does, and he's put in that situation because of the playbook. Coach Sardo, the defensive coordinator for McMaster, has worked all week at trying to find ways to play mind games with Tommy Dennison. And on this one, he basically just sends the house, and he had both Manny Furtado and Jay Pottinger, number 51, going in for a big hit.
So Will Vrugdenhill will come in to punt. His 36.8 average ranks him 6th in the Ontario Conference. Back to receiver, Zach Strong and Rick Andre. Hill will get it off. It is taken in, and McMaster will get it. Fumbles the ball, picked up by Keswick. Ray Wright, and he's quick on the ball as it was fumbled, and Keswick just in the right place at the right time.
Well, he was, and that's going to save Mac from a big disaster right off the beginning. Rick Andrade here comes in, number 25. The ball's popped out, but thank God that Keswick Wainwright was there to jump on the ball, saving Mac from a big turnover.
They almost handed the turnover right back instead. With a 1-0 lead, John Behe will start from his own 23-yard line. Long leading the way, and we've got flags on the play, and it's whistled dead as Kyle Peer took the handoff. It'll be our first chance to get a listen to referee Bruce Gray.
Procedure on the offense. First down repeated.
So the Marauders are penalized with procedure, and 1st and 15, probably not what you want to see if you're a first-year quarterback after not making the Golden Gales pay on that turnover.
Well, that's right. You know, especially with the Golden Gales defense lining up in a 44 defense right now, forcing McMaster to throw the ball.
And Behe will throw the ball, looking in the flats to Kyle Peer, and a sure-handed tackle in the open field by Mitchell Smith.
Well, we talked about Kyle Peer catching the ball out of the backfield earlier, and that's what he did on this play, and he'll be doing that all afternoon. McMaster runs the ball so much that their passing game evolves from it by using the play actions in the backfield, and then you had a fake handoff to Jesse Lumsden, which you have to respect since he's so fast and such a potent running back, and at the same time Kyle Peer releasing to the outside.
Well, Jesse Lumsden has missed 4 games this year because of an ankle injury. He's back in the lineup, only 4 carries last week. He is the lone setback, and he will stay in to pass protect as Behe unloads and hits Chris Rankin, another man just back into the lineup, and he will be close to first down yardage.
Well, there's a target that John Behe will be happy to see in his receiving corps today. Chris Rankin, as you mentioned, was hurt for a while and missed most of the seasons due to an ankle injury, but he's back and he's running hard, and he won't try to run out of bounds to avoid anything. He's going to stick his head down and move forward to try to get a first down.
When you talk about Chris Rankin, an OUA first-team All-Star last year and also a first-team All-Canadian. 3rd down, Greg Marshall spoke to us before this game saying he's not afraid to go for it on first down, and here with 9:30 remaining in the first quarter, he will indeed. 3rd down and short, Behe will keep and try and push his way. A good push from the offensive line, and it looks as though he has first down yardage.
Well, at this point, you don't need a whole lot. You know, the defensive line already lines up a yard off. All you need is a quick push off of the line of scrimmage and dive forward underneath your players.
And it is a first down for the Marauders. So it's been an interesting start here. We didn't expect this.
No, it certainly has been. You know, big interception off the beginning. No points off of that, which was surprising. Usually you'd think the MAC offense would try to go for a home run right off the bat, but they're just establishing the running game, which they've been wanting to do all week.
Lumsden, the lone setback, Peer in motion. They give to Lumsden. He makes one-man miss, tries a cutback lane, and a couple of the linebackers from the Golden Gales get in there, including Adam Ross.
Well, that's what's interesting to see. Adam Ross at 6 foot 200 is not an extremely big player, and neither is the rest of the defensive core, especially on the defensive line. Jack Woodrow, number 37, at 6'2", 210. That's not a big man on the defensive line, and what Coach Marshall was hoping is that the McMaster O-line would be able to push those guys around a little bit. But so far, the Queens defense has given them a pretty good front.
So Behe under center. He'll look to pass. Looking in the flat, it is just incomplete. As Behe will look at 3rd down, and looks like Mike Ray will bounce out.
Well, that's right. Conrad Kloge tried to catch the ball, but it was delivered just a little behind him. The ballpark turn like that is a hard thing to do, especially when you have a guy like Mitchell Smith coming straight at you.
So Mike Ray steps in. with a 36.5 average, 7th in the OUA, 8th in the CIS. Back to receive Crawford and McKinnon, and Crawford a 15.1 average on punt returns. He will bring it in. He's got some great speed. He makes one man miss. There's a flag down as he crosses the 40 to the 42-yard line.
Big return here by Crawford, and we'll see where the flag was, whether it was on the returning team or on the coverage, but I believe it will be on the returning team, so you might see the ball move back a little bit.
We'll let Bruce Gray do the honors, but it looks like it's on the Gales.
Legal block.
So they are moved back and will start from their 29-yard line. Ty Sheehan in his 3rd year at Queens, and this crowd starts to get loud. Dennison, tied, flushed out of the pocket. Manny Furtado will give chase. Dennison will get away and duck out of bounds after gaining about 12.
Great play by Tommy Dennison. He just spun out of a big rush by Jeff Smith, number 33, coming off the edge, and then he just headed out for the sidelines. He had great coverage downfield. You'll see Smith, 33, coming in, tries to get to the quarterback, puts his hands up. All of a sudden, Dennison spins out of it. Manny Furtado tries the swipe of the legs, but nothing to take that man down.
First down, 10 to go for Dennison and the Golden Gales, trailing by a point early. University rush, coast to coast on the Score Television Network. Under pressure, hit as he throws, and he can't get it to Ian Fleming, but some great pressure from the MAC D-line.
Was a great timing by Manny Furtado. Come in on the blitz from the edge and to just basically try to anticipate the snap of the ball and to rush forward to Dennison. But Tommy Dennison didn't back down. He didn't try to throw the ball away. He stood in the pocket, knew he was going to get hit, tried to deliver the ball down the middle to his man Ian Fleming, and took the hit. Now, if he keeps getting banged up like that, it might be a long afternoon.
We'll see how often he stays in that pocket if he keeps getting hit like that. There's that look at Fleming, the first-team OUA All-Star. Dennison in the shotgun, going deep again, this time looking for Brad Smith, who can't come up with it. A great defensive play. Brandon Little with the stick to knock it loose.
Well, talk about the system working for the McMaster defense thus far. They bring a couple linebackers on the blitz, and they cover man-to-man and behind. You'll see Brandon Little coming late into the picture, number 13, but taking enough of Brad Smith out to make sure that he doesn't catch that ball. That was a great ball delivery right down into the bucket. Brad Smith simply couldn't hang on to it.
Dennison starts just 1 of 4 for 11 yards and 1 interception. The man's been averaging almost 400 yards passing a game. It's a great start for this McMaster defense with just under 7 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Will the thrill, they call him, into punt. He gets a high spiraling kickoff. Rick Andrade back to receive, and Andrade makes one man miss. Up across the 33-yard line, and that's where we'll take a break. Across the coast to coast. OUA on the Score. Sheehan in his 3rd year as the Queens head coach, his record of 13-11, 3-1 in the playoffs, and he's looking to improve that and capture his first Yates Cup. Naked bootleg for John Behe, and he is popped. Corey Trudeau getting a free lick, and he unloads on Behe.
Well, Behe had a big lead block by Dave Ford, but at the same time, you got Corey Trudeau coming across, scraping along the line, and he's not going to take anything for granted. He's just going to, if he gets a free shot at the quarterback, he's going to take it, and he put a good pop on John Behe.
That always helps to get the quarterback into the game. Take one good pop and you're ready to go.
That's right. If you're not ready after the warm-up, that's all you need. A nice little hit like that, it straightens everything out and you're ready to go.
Morgan Thomas now the lone setback. Kyle Pear lined up as a slot back. It's a sprint out. Behe, plenty of time. Still scrambling, looking deep for Andre Cockett, who can't come up with it. He had a step on his man, but couldn't come up with it. All right, let's go back to our own Sid Sixero in the Score Studios with an update. Sid?
Thanks, Tim. The LA Kings are in the early stages of an 8-game road trip. Game 2 of that trek saw them in Ottawa last night. Pick it up early third, tied up at 2. Brian Smolinski scores. It's his first goal since October 25th. The Kings took it 3-2. Tim, back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Sid. So it's third down for the McMaster Marauders. Mike Ray back to punt. And he will let a high spiraling kick go. Brian Crawford lets it bounce, and he will have to scramble back to his own 12-yard line, and McMaster makes them pay. The first thing a special teams coach says is, don't let it bounce.
Well, you know what, and that's going to hurt them. That took a huge bounce, and it kept rolling back, and the coverage team did a great job to make sure that Crawford wasn't going to break one for loose. And, you know, the ball rolls back behind him. And there's number 24, Tristan Clovis, making sure to block him in, making sure he's got nowhere to go. And it pushed them back 58 yards from where the ball was on the 3rd-yard line. Sorry, on the third down marker here on the far side, all the way across to the back of the end zone.
58-yard punt, 2-yard return, and net of 56. So Dennison in the shadow of his own goalpost once again, flushed out of the pocket, lets her rip, looking for McKinnon on Kwame Adu. He makes the reception up across midfield and down to the Marauder 42-yard line.
Well, we talked about Tommy Dennison moving away from the rush, and he did on that play. The linebackers thought he was going to take the ball down and keep running, but then he just delivers a huge strike down the field to his man, number 15, Sean McKinnon.
It's a 52-yard gain, so that 56-yard net on the punt is gone.
All that in one play.
And that is the capabilities of Tom Dennison and this offense. Crawford, the lone setback, he will stay in and pass protect, looking deep again, and this time just out of the reach of John Northcote. We saw that pattern run a couple of times last week.
Well, I was going to say, he probably caught 4 or 5 of the exact same patterns against Western last weekend. And the ball is at the right spot. Nobody can make a play on that other than his receiver. Maybe just one step too far, pardon me.
Well, Northcote was one step too short.
So that, exactly. You knew what I meant.
28 receptions for 385 yards and 3 touchdowns. Last week, 13 receptions for 191 yards. So that pattern worked out well for him.
Well, it certainly did. And, you know, they picked on Chris Aiken last weekend against Western. This week, they're just trying to throw over top to try to spread that defense to be able to throw things underneath later on.
McMaster only has a couple of linebackers, and here comes the safety blitz. His card comes on it, and they go to that spot. Brandon Little is there, and we're seeing different sets from this McMaster defense. We talked about a nickel, we talked about a dime, but they're even bringing in $1.
Yeah, they've got all sorts of crazy coverages, but enough that it makes a quarterback think. And looking at the coverage here, you'll see number 11 from the left side. That's Jesse Card. He's the safety, and he lines up way back there, and all of a sudden, as the Kings goes along, he times it up so that he can rush the quarterback on a blitz. Now, if you're the quarterback sitting in the pocket, you think you have one safety, you have man coverage in behind, but what they do is that they drop a couple of defensive linemen into coverage at the same time, so you got all sorts of stuff happening, and it makes the quarterback think.
So the 2 best scoring offenses in the OUA have a 1-0 game. It's a fake. Fruiton Hill will throw, and he hits his man Mark Mitchell, a linebacker. It may be short.
Great throw, great catch by the special teams unit. Fruiton Hill delivered a nice strike, but Kwame Adu came in for a big hit to stop the Queens offense to get a first down. Here's the replay. You'll see quarterback, but Will Fruiton Hill, the punter, rolling out to the right. His man drops to the ground. He still delivers a strike. Unfortunately, it was 1 yard too short.
It was just short. McMaster will take over, so the Queens Golden Gales go for a little trickery. It's a good spot to do it, though, Ben. Just inside the 35-yard line.
Well, if Fruiton Hill had punted the ball, it would have probably ended up somewhere in the 5 to 10-yard range, if not in the end zone. So you still give the ball back at the 35-yard line. Might as well try to get a first down, create something, make something happen right off the bat.
Meehy looking deep for Vaughn. Slordu had a couple of steps on his man, but It's just a wee bit overthrown, and there's a flag down on the play as well.
It certainly was a great ball, and just a little too much juice, and that goes back to maybe have a little bit the emotions of the game kicking in, and the touch might not be as there as it used to be, but Von Swart certainly had a step on his defensive back.
Let's see what the flag is.
On the defense, just repeat it.
So they will get 5 yards and will repeat a first down. Queens jumped off a free play there basically for Behe, and he took advantage by going deep.
Well, that's right. I don't know if he even was aware of what was going on, but he tried to deliver the ball downfield, create a big play right off the big turnover like that, and unfortunately it didn't work. But
first down, 5 to go. Kyle Peer the carry, and he is wrapped up and dropped.
Well, that was great.
Nathan Haskell on the tackle. Sorry,
well, I was going to say Mark Mitchell did a great job from stretching that defense right there, and you'll see number 19 working on the block out here with 21, Mike Long, and all of a sudden Haskell comes into the picture and puts a big lick on Kyle Peer.
Haskell is not the starter, but they rotate a lot of linebackers through there. Adam Ross, Pepin, and Mitchell, along with Petoni, Haskell, and Philippe Champagne. So it is second down at about 6. I formation is now split as Peer out into the flat. We've got another flag on the play. Is Jesse Lumsden, who's got some great breakaway speed across the 50-yard line and into Gales territory. Wanted to see what this flag is all about.
Well, it seemed as if it was procedure on McMaster. There's no end on this side, on our side of the field, and Chris Rankin was lined up a yard off the line of scrimmage instead of being right on it, which brings back that big run by Jesse Lumsden.
Bruce Gray will tell us, and there's the breakaway ability of Jesse Lumsden. He's got some great speed.
He certainly does, and we've seen him doing it earlier this season. He's going to do it all afternoon if you allow him the room to do it.
Procedure, no end. Second down, repeat it.
Well, Benny, you called that one, buddy.
Well, it seems as if I recognize this offense alignment a little bit, and that's, it's tough to notice that, especially when you're lined up as the quarterback and it's a running play. You don't think about lining up your receiver, and one little thing like that hurts you because now you're back and it's 2nd and 10.
Behe, play action, under pressure. Trudeau gets a great block from his offensive lineman, tried to zip it in there to Sean Postma, the big tight end, but it falls incomplete, and Mike Ray will bounce out again.
Well, that was good ability by John Behe to run away from that, trying to deliver a ball, but great coverage downfield by the Queens defense. Mitchell Smith's not going to let anyone go easy, and he certainly was tight with his receiver on that one.
For all the offensive capabilities in this game, the defenses are shining pretty brightly early.
Well, that's right. You talk about how many yards the Queens offense can do through the air, how many yards can the MAC offense do on the ground, and all of a sudden it's a 1-0 game, and you're talking about how good the defenses are. So big games like that are always interesting.
They bring the house, and Mike Ray just gets it off. McKinnon pretty much left alone back there, and he will be swarmed on special teams. It's 1-0 McMaster. Late first quarter on University Rush. I look at Greg Marshall, and his record at McMaster has been absolutely phenomenal. He's improved every year, and that's tough to do when last year you were 7-0-1. Dennison over the middle. Jesse Carr looking to make a play on the ball along with Jonathan Fruit. And for the first time, we check in with our man, Elliot Friedman.
Thank you, Tim. One injury concern to check in for McMaster. Defensive end Jeff Smith is not on the field right now. He got hoofed in the right shin earlier on in the game. He's got quite a bit of a welt there. He will play. He was on the special teams punt, but he just might not be able to play as much as he normally does, guys.
The Marauders are unusually deep at the defensive line spot.
Well, that's right. I mean, Jeff Smith is in his 5th year, but you have Jeff Robertshot, number 58, in his 1st year that can do, a decent job on the end. So, and Chris Van Ziel, number 91, can do the same. So, you'll see some big plays by that D-line today.
Speaking of big plays, looking for another one. They like that post pattern, looking for Ian Fleming, but Dennison is hammered, and he's forced to get it up there early.
Well, that combination that we talked about, bringing some heat to Dennison, forcing him to throw the ball a little earlier than he wants. Next thing you know, the ball's hanging up in the air for a long time, which allows guys like Brandon Little and John Chart to come in and make a huge play. great job by Brandon Little to time the jump and to tap the ball out with his left hand the way he did.
When you face two offenses that are this good, can sometimes coaches be too worried about scheming on defense that they kind of forget about the offensive side of the ball?
Well, you know, that might happen, although I can't explain what happened at Queens because I'm not as familiar with Coach Sheehan as I'm familiar with Coach Marshall, but I know that Coach Marshall would not have worried about the defense as much as he worried about his offense this week.
Rick Andrade, a big return, but I think we may have a roughing the kicker penalty as there is a flag in the backfield of Queens.
Well,
Gray will tell us.
Well, Jeff Smith, number 33, that Elliot just talked to us about, came in and contacted the kicker, and it's going to be obviously
Got contacting the kicker, McMaster. First down.
It's a 10-yard. Well, it's contacting the kicker is a 10-yard penalty, and because it was 3rd and 10, it now gives him a first down. If it was roughing the kicker, then it'd be a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
The professor, Ben Chapdelaine, explaining the intricacies of the Canadian game. So Greg Marshall, a tough break there, a tough penalty for him, and I don't think he's too happy about it.
Well, he's probably explaining to the referees that he would expect them to allow the players to play the game the way it should be. Then again, if the call had been on the other side, he would have taken it himself.
Dennison is hammered from behind. Jeff Robertshaw, we spoke about him with the big sack. All right, let's go back to the Score Studios for a quick update from our own man, Sid Cicero. Sid?
Thanks a lot, Tim. You know, Raptors center Hakeem Olajuwon is on the verge of retiring, and this evening in Houston, he'll be honored. His number 34 is going to be raised to the rafters at halftime of tonight's Rockets-Warriors game. He spent 17 years with that organization, winning 2 championships along the way.
Thanks a lot, Sid. And Jeff Robertshaw picks up his 4th sack of the year, and Dennison must be thinking, what the heck's going on? Pressure from all angles, and here comes the house again. And again, Manny Furtado gets to Dennison. 2 sacks in a row. Manny gets sack number 5 on the year.
You know what? This is unbelievable. Coach Sardo talked about it this week. He said the Queens O-line only has 5 people to block. If we bring in 6 or 7, there's always going to be 1 or 2 players that are going to be free to the quarterback. Now it's a question of if Dennison can release the ball quick enough, it doesn't become a problem. But if he hangs on to it just a little too much, like he did on this one, he's going to get hit. There's the one prior to this play, and there's Robertshaw coming in off the edge, simply just fighting his blocker off, coming in for a big hit.
Queens has got to adjust and start throwing short balls, don't they, Ben?
Well, that's the thing. Either you throw it up to the outside simply on a timing route, just hanging it up, letting a receiver do the work, or you throw short things and move the sticks 5 yards by 5 yards.
Vrugden Hill from the shadow of his own goalpost, standing at his own 6-yard line. With 2 men back for McMaster, and Rick Andrade will take it in. Got a little seam up across the 55 and down to the 52 of the Golden Gales. We remain 1-0. The end of the first quarter. University Rush on the Score Television Network. Who would have thunk it? 3 first downs, 1 by penalty, 4 first downs total between these 2 offensive powerhouses.
Well, 1 first down by Mac, and they're still leading with 1 point. So it's definitely not as many first downs as we would have expected coming in this game with these 2 teams.
Vaughn Swart on the reception. That's just a short gain of about 3. So it'll be 2nd down and 7.
What's funny is that I've heard this by a few coaches in the past, and especially defensive coordinators like to say that defense wins championships and offense gets the recognition. So one of the reasons why we could be so low on offense right now is because these 2 defense have been overlooked by people simply because their offense have been so great.
Well, Mac's balance is very nice. They're 3rd in the OUA in defense. They're 4th in offense, yet they lead the league in scoring defense and scoring offenses. BE is wrapped up as he gains just a couple across the 45-yard line. And you think about offenses and defenses, and just the balance there. You're ranked 3rd and 4th respectively, yet you still lead in scoring defense and scoring offense.
Well, that's right. Those are all interesting stats, and what it means that you're a good team, you're balanced on both sides, and hopefully you have what it takes to make it all the way.
I didn't think I'd be saying this a lot, but the punters are getting a lot of work early.
Well, that's right. They've been, they've been asked to come out and do what they can do best, and we'll see Mike Ray here try to pin the Queens offense deep in their end.
Just to let you know, these two teams, Mac offense averages 409 yards a game, while Queens average 456 yards a game. It's a short kick. McKinnon allows it to bounce, and Mike Ray tries to pick it up, and he can't get there, and McKinnon will pick it up, but the punter runs down there and tried to recover that kick.
Well, he's done it more than once in his career here at McMaster. Last year, he recovered 3 like that in the season. This year, I believe he's done it once so far. But if he notices that it's a shorter kick than it should be, he's just going to head down there and try to make a play on the ball.
And you can see him in the bottom of your screen.
Well, here he is, number 20, just sprinting down there, looking at that ball as if it's a big candy. He tries to jump in on it, but Sean McKinnon just blocked him enough to recover the ball himself.
Looks like we got a penalty on Queens as well on the return. 21-yard line is where they'll spot this ball. 1-0 Mac. 13-10 remaining in the second quarter to McCallum Ben Chapdelaine at Les Prince Field. Standing room only, and even then, they're packed about 7 deep. Dennison unloads, Fleming wide open, and he gets a chance to turn up field. Gain of about 14 on the play.
Well, you talked about it, try to throw things that are quick and short, and that's what Queens is going to try to do. And you saw them doing it on this play with Fleming, just going on a quick 3-step out. And you saw Dennison taking the snap right out of the center, just delivering the ball to the outside, allowing his receivers to do something with the ball after the catch.
Fleming in his second year from Toronto, 6'4", 201, 4th in the CIS, 2nd in the OUA in receptions in the regular season. Empty backfield, Dennison, quick drop again, he unloads, and looks like he got his signals crossed with Craig Spear.
Well, on that side of the field, on this play, you had 4 red jerseys and only 2 yellow ones, so it makes it for a tough ratio of players to throw the ball to when you're outnumbered, by the defense like that.
So now Dennison is faced with another 2nd down and long. Sheldon Weeks jogs out, Brian Crawford jogs in. And Queens with 12:30 remaining in the first half. Held pointless. Dennison. Little sprint out to Crawford. He's got 4.3 speed, and he tries to get to the outside, but it is strung out very well. Jesse Card out there to shove him out of bounds.
Tristan Clovis, number 24, was coming after him, and Jesse Card came in just in time to stop him from gaining that first down. So here he is, Crawford, with the speed that you mentioned, coming in, and Jesse Card sells out, dives forward into the legs to try to stop him.
They're going for it for 3rd down, and we've got the referees holding them up. And
well, Coach Sheehan was sending the punting team out at the same time as Tommy Dennison was ready to line up for a quarterback sneak. So that's what they'll do. They're going to bring the meat in, bring all the running backs, and Sheldon Weeks, Dave Weiss, Chris Rogan, and company are going to come in. They're going to try to punch the ball for a first down.
the meat is definitely in on 3rd and 1. Sheldon Weeks, 6'2", 240. Dave Weiss, 6'1", 230. Brad Smith and Pat Sheehan will have a look and see if they can get this first down. Working from their own 49. Only one wide receiver and everyone stacking the line of scrimmage. The crowd, as Tommy Dennison tries to audible, is making a big difference. They pitch it out. Crawford strung out Manny Furtado. No, sir, says the linebacker from Hamilton, Ontario in his 3rd year.
Well, talk about getting the crowd involved in this game. Manny Furtado comes in, and you'll see, here's Tommy Dennison trying to call the audible, and the crowd is getting into it, which makes it tough for a quarterback to call things right on the line of scrimmage. Now they pitch the ball out to the outside, which now brings the running back 5 yards deeper. All you needed was a foot, and now you end up trying to rush 6 yards only to make that first down marker. And Manny Furtado wasn't going to let it happen. He came in off to the outside and made a big play.
I'm sure Dennison and Coach Sheehan just talked about that. You got third down and a foot or a yard. There's no need to pitch it back 5 yards.
Well, that's right. If worse comes to worse, try to dive it in the pile yourself. You only need 1 yard. That's all we expect. You don't need to get 20.
More defense leads to first down, 10 to go. Kyle Pierre up the middle, and he will scrape his way through the line in the pile of bodies to gain about 5.
Well, that was a big play and a big hit at the front. And there's a man down, Matt O'Meara, number 67. Probably got hung up with somebody in there, but he's resting on the ground right now, waiting for the therapist team to come out.
All right. While they're tending to Matt O'Meara, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back after these. And Matt O'Meara is helped off the field. Looks like he's hurt his arm. We'll check with Elliot Freeman, but he had a lot to do with the kind of year that Kyle Pierre had, leading the CIS with numbers of 1,227 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 184 attempts. All of them led the nation.
That's right. He's been doing a great job, and one of the reasons is the guys up front. You know, Matt O'Meara, Dave Ford, Fabio Felice and company have done a great job for Kyle Pierre.
Behe looking deep for Vaughn. Swart, some good coverage. He pushes off, keeps his feet in, and the flag comes out. It was a great play by Swart, but unfortunately it was against the rules.
Well, a little bit too obvious in the push-off. You know, normally the referees will allow you a little leeway as to pushing off and being physical as a receiver. But if you just put both your hands flat on the back of the defensive back and just fully push him out, there's nothing they can do. They have to call it, and that's what they did on this play.
The crowd may not agree, but that's what they pay their money for.
That's right. What a surprise. They don't agree with the referee's call.
So it'll be second down now and 20. As Swart actually did a really good job keeping his feet in bounds and coming up with the reception.
Well, it takes focus to be able to push a guy off, come back, jump up for the ball, and to keep both your feet, at least 1 foot in to allow that to be a catch. But body control was key on that one for Vaughn.
Swart was 7th in the CIS, 5th in the OUA in receiving yards this season. Second down, 20 to go. Behe back to pass. Here comes the pressure from Andrew Pepin. Gets it loose, and Swart comes up with it, so he makes up for the earlier gap, and the Marauders are threatening at the Gales 11.
I think that what they've realized is that Vaughn Swart has some height advantage on the outside. There's B. He's staying tall in the pocket. They're bringing the house. There was about 12 gold jerseys coming at him. Great job, great concentration by Vaughn Swart to jump over Dave Brown, number 29 for the Golden Gales.
Well, Swart is 6'3", Brown 5'11", and he just out-jumped him for that football, and all of a sudden, the McMaster Marauders look to add to their 1-0 lead.
Well, that's right. They're going to try to punch the ball in. They've got the short yardage offense in, and Nick Binder, a defensive tackle, coming in as a fullback.
And he will lead the way for Kyle Pierre, but he is swarmed. Some great penetration, and the linebackers come up to support.
Andrew Pepin, number 56, came in and scraped along the line and made a big hit on Kyle Pierre. And what the importance is, the important thing here on short yardage is that the offensive line has to get to the second level. If you don't, you have guys coming in like this, like Pepin did, taking free shots at your running back.
So it is second down, about 8 to go. Ball on the Gales 9-yard line. Again, full house backfield. This time, bootleg for Behe's looking for the first down marker, looking for the crook in the end zone. And I don't know if he found either.
He was trying to run to the outside and throw a little out pattern to Sean Postma. You'll see number 75, Sean Postma, rolling out, following his quarterback. Now you have two things. Either you make it look as if you're going to run to the outside, just dumping back to your receiver that's just trailing to the back, or you try to communicate with your receiver downfield, trying to maybe signal to him where to go and just drop the ball to a spot. But that's a really hard thing to do, and B, he just tried to go with his athleticism, tries to run the ball himself.
So this is odd for Greg Marshall. 3rd down and short, and he brought out the field goal unit. We've seen him go before, and we'll see him go again. Mike Ray, short field goal attempt. It is up, and it is good. 10-yard field goal makes it a 4-0 game here in the second quarter. So Queens will take it from their own 35. Dennison back to pass. Only 3-man being rushed. Mike Gal. Here comes Jay Pottinger to lay a pop on. And boy, Dennison is really getting bounced around. Let's send it down to our good friend Elliot Freeman. Elliot, got an update for us?
Yeah, Tim, bad news for McMaster. Matt O'Meara appears to have a broken bone just above his right wrist. He is going to be sent to hospital, but they're putting the tensor bandages on, and he is done for the day, guys.
So Peter Hogarth will come into the game for Matt O'Meara. 6'4", 260 in his second year as O'Meara. So a tough loss to a great offensive line. Dennison's got to be wondering what's going on. 2nd down, 10 to go. Just over 9 minutes remaining. This time he has time. He tries to lay it out for Brad Smith, battling back to the ball, and Brandon Little just puts his arms up. I was running step for step with my man.
Well, that's right. He wanted to make sure that he wasn't going to get a flag on that one for interference. And you know what? He was right. If he'd kept his hands trying to battle with the receiver, he may have been called. But because he backed away from it, he didn't get any flags.
So Tommy Dennison is now 4 of 14 for 86 yards, and 52 of those came on the ball.
Well, that's right. It certainly is a different offense that we saw last week. They're trying the same things, but the defense is challenging them a little bit more than Western did last weekend.
Vrooden Hill has had a fine day punting. This is the most work he's probably ever gotten. As Kwame Adu and a couple of Marauders try and get to that ball. Andrade takes it in, gets a block, looking for the corner. Jesse Card is going to get called for a hold there as he tried to spring him around the edge. But for now, we'll go back to good friend Sid Cicero in the Score Studios with an update. Sid?
Dusty Baker is making a lot of news lately. He's scheduled to meet with Cub officials over the next few days regarding their vacant managerial position. And according to broadcast reports, he's also going to meet with the IRS. Baker apparently owes over $2 million in back taxes spanning a 12-year period. Tim, let's go back to you.
Ball goes back to the 32-yard line.
The penalty indeed was a hold on Jesse Card, and that'll march the Marauders back. And how surprised are you that Kyle Pierce only carried the ball 4 times for 6 yards?
Well, especially after listening to Coach Marshall saying that they would try to pound the ball today, and looking at the stats that Kyle Pierce has had over the season. You know, he's had over 100 yards in every single game except for the game against Western and against York, the last game of the season, where they were trying to rest him. So it is surprising to see Kyle not handling the ball more than he does.
And just as we say that, he gets a few yards, gain of about 4 on the play. And those 2 times that he was held under 100 yards, he rushed for 90 and 91 respectively. So this guy, to hold him to what they're holding him to right now, is unbelievable.
That's right. It is a tough feat to try to stop a guy like Kyle Pierce. And what happens is you have an offensive line like the guys like Matt O'Meara, Dave Ford, and Fabio Felice who try to open holes for you, but they get tired too. So you know, it might be a question of just either sliding around on the field or whatnot, and playing against a good defense is always tough. So.
Here's the lone setback. 2nd down, 6 to go, and they'll hand it to Pierre, searching for the first down marker, but he will come up short as Andrew Pepin again in on the tackle. And so Pierre will be short of the first down on this play.
Kyle tried for a big search up on that play, but you know that defensive line is not giving him anything. Matt Kurt, Corey Trudeau, and company are not allowing him anything. They're making sure that they're shedding the blocks off and making big hits. And one thing that happens is, as a running back, if you keep getting the ball like that down the middle and getting popped, you get tired of it a little bit, and you might not be running as hard as you would expect.
Mike Ray stands back to punt, and it looks like Queens is acknowledging their crowd, chanting block that kick, because they have the entire house on the line. And here they come. Ray will get it away quickly, and McKinnon's got room to roam here. Makes one man miss across the 50, and the second line of defenders from Mac do a good job.
Well, that's right. Jeff Smith came in on the big pop, number 33, and Sean McKinnon is kind of laughing at it, but we'll see how the defense holds up on the second when we get back.
All right, let's send it down to our good friend Elliot Freeman, who has another update for us.
Tim, just one thing to keep an eye on. When Tom Dennison was on the sideline here for Queens, he was limping noticeably on his left leg. Now, nobody was working on him. He was receiving no attention or anything like that, but it was just something that was very obvious to see. Maybe this Mac pass rush is getting to him a little bit.
Good point. We talked about the fact that Dennison was getting bounced around, and now they come in with an I formation set and Dennison under center. Crawford, the deep back, play action over the middle, wide open is Ian Fleming. He's got some room across the 30, across the 20. Ian Fleming wrapped up and dropped inside the McMaster 10-yard line.
Great play by Ian Fleming, and great run after the catch. One thing, here's the play action in the backfield. Dennison just delivers a strike right down the middle to Fleming. Now what he does is make something happen after the catch, and he rumbles all the way downfield through the McMaster defense for a 48-yard gain.
So the Gales enter the McMaster red zone for the first time this game with 6:44 remaining in the first half. If I'd have told you that before, you wouldn't have thought it would be a 4-0 game.
That's right.
Same I formation. Play action again. Dennison under pressure, and he is dropped for a big loss. Mike Botterill the first on the scene, and few guys help him mop up.
Well, they came hard after him, and what happened on this play? They're blitzing Mike Botterill, number 55, the middle linebacker, and Manny Furtado on the outside. Now, on the previous play, on the big catch by Fleming, McMaster was a normal 43 defense and dropping back into zone coverage. And if you do that, Tommy Dennison will pick you apart. So, big call here by Coach Sardo to bring back the heat and to stop Dennison from putting the ball into the end zone.
When you speak of Coach Sardo, you're talking about Joe Sardo, the defensive coordinator for the McMaster Marauders. You know well, played a few years with him. Dennison in the shotgun. It is second down and goal to go from the 20-yard line. Sprint out under pressure again. Unloads looking for Smith, and he can't come up with it. Did a great job battling against Keswick Wainwright, but in the end, the defense wins out.
Well, Brandon Little, Keswick Wainwright, both of them fighting for the ball. As we take a look at Tommy Dennison limping off the field right now, and it's like anything else. I don't care how tough you are, but if you keep getting banged up like that, you're going to give at some point. Your body can only take so much punishment. So now to keep your mind focused into the game when you're physically getting beat up, that's a challenge.
Their backup quarterback, John Lawless, has only attempted 10 passes this entire season. Chris Napoli comes in. He is the third string Queens kicker. He's 2 of 6 on the year with a long of 28. This would equal his long, and it does. So the Golden Gales put some points on the board when they're not easy to come by. 4-3 Mac leads in the second quarter. So Coach Sheehan's offense finally gets some points on the board, and if I'd have told you 4-3 in the second quarter with 5:22 remaining, what would you have told me?
Well, I would have said you're out to lunch, just to put it mildly.
So the Queens Golden Gales will kick off. Now down 1. It's been amazing how well these defenses have put together their game plans, man.
Well, it is unbelievable, and I was mentioning Coach Sardo. When we talk about Joe Sardo, the defensive coordinator for the McMaster Marauders, he knows what he's talking about. He played football at college in Hawaii. Made it, he's a Canadian guy, came back, played in the CFL for 4 seasons as a linebacker. He played in Ottawa, played in Toronto, so he has the experience of a good linebacker and a good defensive mind.
Rick Andrade following the wedge, and his Marauders are going to have to be Rainbow Warriors today. Low-scoring affair. Let's send it back to Sid Sixero in the score studio. Sid?
Thanks a lot, Tim. The Leafs were in Dallas last night. This was Ed Belfour's return to the Lone Star State, but in the end, he wasn't the story. The story was Marty Turco. Third period late. Stars up by 1. Brian McCabe from 25 feet looking tied up. Oh, he's robbed by Turco. Turco made 22 saves. He beats Belfour. Final was 2-1. Tim, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Sid, for that update in the world of sports. You missed nothing. You got the 2 top teams in the nation battling it out. You're getting updates from everywhere in the world of sports. What more could you ask for? 5 minutes remaining in the first half. Kyle Pierre again wrapped up and dropped. Coach Marshall said he was going to bang the ball, and bang the ball. And he's not having much success banging the ball.
Well, that's right, but he's someone would dare to say that he could be a stubborn man at times, and he's going to stick with his game plan as long as they're not turning the ball over and that they're not making any mistakes. Right now, the reason why they're not getting any yards is simply because they can't push that defensive line off the ball. So until I can bet you that he's on the sidelines every time the offensive line comes off the field and he tells them what's going on, let's make sure we get it cleaned up to get back out there. So I'm sure that he's working on the offensive line to open holes for Kyle Pierre and Jesse Lumsden.
He talks about the size of that defensive line as Marshall wants a timeout. He's not going to get it. Behe back to pass. He's got time trying to dump it to Pierre, and he would have had some room to roam. Behe had to show off the touch there and just missed Kyle Pierre.
Well, that's a tough throw. I mean, Kyle Pierre is running away from him a little bit, kind of on an angle, and he's probably not one of his reads. He's just a little delay route coming out of the backfield as a, his last-minute source, and what he tried to do is just dump it out there, and the ball was a little off target.
So Mike Ray will punt it away. And both these teams trying to figure out what they can do on offense to crack the defense. Here, just 16 yards on the ground, 7 carries as Mike Ray comes in to punt. This time they set up for the return. And Brian Crawford lets it bounce and takes a McMaster bounce and right out of bounds. And he is popped. No flag down on the play. Somewhat in bounds. Should have just let the ball go.
Well, Chris Van Zyl coming in, number 91, gets the benefit of the doubt on that one. But that was close, and he could have certainly gotten a unnecessary roughness coming in late hit like that, especially with the head spearing with the helmet like that. The referee's letting one go on this one.
Well, it was right in front of the side judge. Decided to let it go. So at 3:52 remaining, Queens will take over on their own 42. We're going to have to keep an eye on Tommy Dennison, see if he's limited. He's returning to his home area. He is from not far from here, probably about a 20-minute drive. Over the middle, Brad Smith looked like he didn't expect it to come.
Well, it's either that or he knew that there was a lot of red jerseys around him. And what happens as a receiver coming down the middle like that, you expect linebackers to step up and to give you a big pop. So here he is coming in from the outside underneath the coverage, and he sees a couple of linebackers. He sees the referee. He tries to go around everybody. And next thing you know, the ball's already coming at you and you're not ready for it. But that will come with experience. Brad Smith is only in his first year, and as he gets more experience, he'll be able to make those catches down the middle.
Brad Smith, the son of Larry, and he's going to get it in the backfield. This is a fumble. It's a backwards pass, and it's loose. And, well, the McMaster Marauders didn't recognize that fact. Brad Smith did, and I think they're just calling it an incompletion here.
Well, I don't know what they're going to call it, but it seemed from up here anyways that it was a backwards pass, and it should have been, well, that's tough to say. That's tough to say. But Josh Armstrong, number 4 here, doesn't even look at the ball. He just lets it go as Brad Smith jumps on it to recover it.
That was like the home run throwback. Tennessee Titans. It was too close to call. It looked like it traveled right along that 40-yard line. Will Fruiton Hill back to punt, average of 42.5 thus far. Perhaps a special teams big play will make a difference in this low-scoring affair. Big-time punt from Fruiton Hill. Andrade will take it in, and there's a cut block on the play. We're going to bring this one back as Andrade crosses the 42-yard line and is wrestled down. He's not too happy about that.
Rick is known for his energy on and off the field. So if he gets a couple of hits in, he might just lose it once in a while.
And it is a block below the waist that they're calling on the punt.
Flipping goal against the Marauders.
We have a block.
There'll be a 15-yard penalty against
First down.
Kwame Adu. So McMaster is in deep in their zone after that penalty, and looks like Mike Zaremba has come out to lead the McMaster Marauders at quarterback. Behe on the sidelines. Zaremba has split time with Behe. In week 4, Behe won the outright job and hasn't looked back, but Zaremba is in. And he is going to scramble and lose yards as he is sacked behind the line of scrimmage. Looks like a loss of about 5 on the play.
Well, that's a tough situation to come in. Here he is on his own 5-yard line. Fakes the running play, and then he's met by a bunch of Golden Gales. Andrew Mode and Matt Kurt and Corey Trudeau came in and stopped him for a 5-yard loss.
Coach Sheehan talked to us about Andrew Mode in his 4th year from Markham. He has been banged up this entire year and was happy to get him back in the lineup. There's a look at Mike Zaremba's statistics, and basically he hasn't played a lot since week 4. But he's forced into this, the Yates Cup. And he'll go deep looking for Von Swart, and some good coverage there as Dave Brown wasn't going to be beat.
You had good coverage by Dave Brown as Zaremba tried to deliver the ball to the post pattern. Here he is dropping back to his 5 steps, and you'll see Von Swart coming into the picture. The ball just a little overthrown, unfortunately for Swart, but there's Dave Brown trying to dive and intercept that ball, which could have been a great turnover for the Queens defense.
Instead, Mike Ray will hop back out. We'll have to see if he attempts to punt this from his own end zone. With points so hard to come by, you wonder if giving up the safety here is the right thing to do.
Well, the field position has been a battle all afternoon so far, and it'll be interesting to see what Coach Marshall decides to do.
So Ray in his own end zone waiting for the snap. And he will just take a knee and give up the 2 points. And with that, the Queens Golden Gales take a 5-4 lead with 2:22 remaining in the first half. What do you think thus far?
Well, it's been interesting. It's been back and forth. There's been big plays on both sides of the ball at the same time. No one has found the end zone with a touchdown yet. So as much as you try to get things going on both sides, whether it's the Queens offense or the MAC offense, they've been stopping themselves, and there's been good defensive plays. I mean, we can't overlook that. There's been some great defensive plays by both teams. It'll be interesting to see how it ends up in the long run.
It's not like these defenses are horrible coming into this game. MAC's defense was 3rd in the OUA, 1st in points allowed with just 12.5 a game. And on the other side of the ball, Queens defense was 4th in the OUA and 2nd in points allowed with just 12.8.
That's right. They simply have been outplayed by their own offense, by their own team's offense. So they don't get as much media coverage, as much recognition as they should.
Dennison looking for Smith, and Josh Armstrong makes a great play on the ball to knock it out of the hands of the first-year player from Quebec.
Well, Josh Armstrong comes in last minute over Brad Smith and simply puts his left hand right in the way of the ball, and that's textbook coverage. If you're a defensive back right now and you look at this, he's got the right hand on the hip and he's got the left hand over top to bat it down. That will give you 2 things. 1, great body position, and 2, access to the ball to bat it down.
So Dennison struggling. His Golden Gales struggling. Dennison 0 for his last 4. Under center this time. Short drop over the middle. Jesse Card meets the receiver as the ball arrives, and Jonathan Fruit a little slow to get up.
Well, that was a big pop. There's 3 people coming into this contact. Jesse Card, Kesrick Wainwright, number 27, the corner coming in from the outside, and then you have Jonathan Fruit diving for the ball. So a lot of bodies going and trying to intercept that ball and catching it.
You talk about Jesse Card. He is not the normal starting free safety. John Shard usually takes that spot, but facing Queens, they decided to mix it up a little bit and bring Card in there more often than they normally do.
Well, that's right. And John Shard is not taken out of the game. He's still involved. They just bring in an extra defensive back in Jesse Card. They hope that he will be making plays on the ball. And so far, he's done great at it.
McMaster holding this Gales offense without the services of the OUA stand-up defensive player of the year, and Ray Mariu. Zach Strom on the return, and he will take it across the 46-yard line, and as he takes it across the 46, we'll take a break. 4-3-5-4, excuse me.
Matt Kirk making the tackle.
That's a way to watch a football game. There's over 6,500 people here, and a few of them get to watch it in the hot tub. The handoff is to Pierre. Here is across, and there is the first big run from Kyle Pierre as he picks up a first down on first down. Gain of 10 on the play.
Well, it's pretty simple. If you allow Kyle Pierre to run into space the way he did on this one, you'll have a long day. And this is the first time that the offensive line has allowed Kyle Pierre a little bit of room to run with, and he did a great job on this one.
So Kyle Pierre with his first big run of the day, and here's the single-season rushing records. Kojo Adu, you saw that quite well, and Kyle Pierre ranks third on the list ahead of Tim Tyndale and Mike Bradley, two great backs. Zaremba unloads. Swart is open and breaks a tackle or two across the 40 down to the 37-yard line, and in the process, he took one hell of a pop.
He certainly did, and you know what? Von Swart is tougher than he looks. A lot of people will say, oh, he's kind of tall, lanky receiver, but he can take a hit and he can get up and keep moving. And then you'll see him here. That's a big pop right here coming in. And Kurt McClellan is not a bad player himself. That was Andrew Pepin coming in the last minute with the big pop. I'm sure that as we see Vaughn being taken off the field right now, he might be being asked what his name is at this point and what the score is. I'm not sure that he can answer that question.
Hey, I couldn't answer that question throwing to the last break.
Fair enough. I'm sure he'll be okay. Vaughn's a tough guy, and it's like anything else. It'll take a few minutes for the playbook to straighten back up in his mind, and everything will be fine.
Well, like everybody else, John Behe in his first year struggled in this football game, and Mike Zaremba thus far is moving the McMaster Marauders. He'll have to do it without Von Swart, but this man will take the ball and run with it. Kyle Pierre all of a sudden finding some space, and if you bang enough, eventually something's going to happen.
Well, it's like anything else. You can only stop an offense like this one for so long. And big block at the point of attack by Chris Rankin, coming in from the outside receiver's position and cracking down on the outside linebacker. Mark Mitchell couldn't do anything, number 19. The one person that came in to save this play was Frank Secretan, coming in from the corner position. And it's like anything else. That's 5'10", 180. You can only take so many hits from Kyle Pierre.
Chris Rankin in his fourth year, great to have back in the lineup for the Marauders. First team All-Canadian as a receiver, but just those little things that he brings to the club as well. Zaremba, looks like a broken play. He's going to have to run, and Mark Mitchell's not falling for any of his jukes, and Zaremba does well to get maybe one or two on the play, but it'll still bring up a third down, it seems.
Well, it will be close, but there's Mike Zaremba opening to the wrong side and thinking that the handoff was going to the right side. Now he just tries to dive forward, knowing where the sticks were, and they'll bring him out to measure to see if it is a first down or not.
So Zaremba looked like a broken play, makes something out of nothing, and they will bring out the chains to see if indeed it is a first down.
We'll talk about Chris Rankin earlier. He makes big plays like that, and he makes little things like blocking look so easy. And although he's not a big man, he's really physical for a small guy, and he also brings confidence in the huddle, a little bit of experience, and he can help this man settle in and calm down in the huddle to make sure that everything's going right.
We can tell by the reaction of the crowd and the shot of the sticks that it was a first down, so Zaremba keeps his troops moving. Little over a minute remaining in the first half. The Queens Golden Gales 5, the McMaster Marauders 4. And we've got flags. We've got some extracurricular activities as well as its procedure on the McMaster Marauders.
And Peter Hogarth in his first year, a little excited maybe, or the crowd could have come in and The other part is it's a different quarterback. So the cadence might be a little different. The timing could be different off the snap. So that could be one of the reasons why he was in a procedure call. But it certainly is tough to move back after you've gained a first down the way they did.
So it'll be first down and 15 to go for the McMaster Marauders. Rick Andrade in the backfield. We haven't seen much of Jesse Lumsden, and it'll be an empty backfield by the time Zaremba sprints out. Looking for Andrade, who makes the reception up close to the 25-yard line, and everyone getting into the act.
Well, we talk about Mike Zaremba. He's got a little bit more experience than John Behe as far as experience at the university level, and you'll see him standing tall in the pocket and delivering a ball the way I've seen him throw the ball in practice. Mike Zaremba is the kind of quarterback that the more he throws, the better he gets. And the more you get him involved in a game like this, the more comfortable he'll become and the better plays he'll make for you. So I'm glad to see that Mike is doing well out there so far. Mike
was your backup at McMaster last year, and as we have a man down on the field, we are going to take a break. McMaster threatening down one in the first half. That's Andrew Mode being taken off the field, and Kyle Pierce stepped it up a wee bit.
Well, he certainly has. In the first 28 minutes, Kyle Pierce carried the ball for 16 yards. Thus far, after a minute and 14 in this drive, he's carried the ball 16 yards. So he's matched up what he did in the first 28 minutes in the last minute and a half. So the O-line has done a great job opening holes for him, and he's running the ball hard.
And it shows with a second down and short from the 19 of the Gales. Zaremba hands it off to Pierre. He's got the first down as he makes Mitchell Smith miss, and McMaster, with under a minute to go on the clock, have another first down deep inside Gales territory.
And this is big. At this point, there's 30 seconds left or so in this half, and you have to make a big score. And Kyle Pierce doing everything he can, diving forward to get as many yards as possible. Now it's, as you mentioned, first and 10 on the 13-yard line right now, and McMaster has to score before the half.
26-25, the clock counting very quickly. Or so it seems for the McMaster Marauders. Zaremba will hand the ball off. There's Jesse Lumsden getting the ball carrying. He is in across the 5-yard line. They'll call a timeout with 12.5 left on the clock.
Unbelievable carry by Jesse Lumsden right down the middle, moving forward. Zaremba calls a timeout. Now he can discuss with Coach Marshall what they're going to do. Now at this point, what usually happens, the quarterback goes to the sidelines and they say, fine, we have one timeout left in this half, and we can call 2 plays in the huddle. So what they may do is call 2 plays right off the bat and say, if the first play doesn't work, let's line up right away, not take a timeout. Let's just line up right on the ball and go for the second play that we've already called. Or they'll just say, we'll try to see what happens on the first down, call a timeout, and then go for the end zone on the last play. But it's imperative that McMaster finds the end zone before the half.
We know how much confidence Coach Marshall has in his running game, but do you dare run the ball in this situation?
Well, again, it depends on your mentality. If I was in the shoes of Mike Zaremba right now talking to Coach Marshall, as little input as you may have as a quarterback in Coach Marshall's system, you still try to go with what you feel comfortable with. If the running game has been going well so far, that's what you go with. Or you use it to set up the pass. If you use a play action right now, get the quarterback in motion out to the outside, away from the rush, you could deliver a strike to the end zone.
It's second down. From the 6-yard line, Zaremba out of the pocket, looking over the middle. Conrad Logie holds it in. Touchdown, McMaster. Our first one of the game, and we are seconds away from the end of the first half.
Well, we talked about it, and that's exactly what McMaster does. They use the play action right out of the backfield. You'll see Zaremba opening and faking the ball to Kyle Pierre. Everyone's flowing to Kyle Pierre right now. What he does, Zaremba sets up in the pocket and sees his man number 7, Conrad Logie, making a huge catch in the end zone.
Well, we talked about the various circumstances that surrounded that play, and they went with the play action, and it worked out. Mike Ray will look to tack on the extra point, 43 of 43, make it 44 of 44, and finally this crowd is something to roar about. Standing room only, and we've got a touchdown on the board, 11-5. with 6 seconds left in the first half.
Has been exciting thus far. Not much scoring, but big plays on both sides. And we'll take a second look at the touchdown. And here's Zaremba faking, booting out to the outside. And you have Dave Ford, number 63, blocking for him up front. Zaremba knows he's going to get hit from the backside, but delivers a strike to Conrad Kloge, who will not let it drop if he's in the end zone.
What can you say about Mike Zaremba? He lost his share of the starting job in his second year. He's a year older than Behe, but still he comes into this football game and conducts himself in such a way that they score a touchdown just before halftime.
Well, Mike Zaremba has always been ready to play in at this level. It's just a question for him to find that groove and to get into a rhythm. If he does, he calms down and he does a great job out on the field. If he gets a little too emotional, he will get a little nervous, and then his throws may be a little bit more erratic, and his decision making may not be the greatest. But thus far, he's done a great job in this game, and he will keep going that way if Coach Marshall allows him to do so.
Brian Crawford and Sean McKinnon back to receive this little squib. And it's the fullback who takes the ball up to the 39-yard line. Looks like we'll have one play left in the clock. Mike Hendry, in his first year from Canada, takes the kickoff and brings it to the 39-yard line.
It will be interesting what the play calling is like here from Coach Sheehan, if they're going to go for the home run ball or if they're simply going to knee the ball down.
Well, we were here during warm-ups and we saw Tommy Dennison trying to throw the ball 60 yards in the air, and he was coming pretty close.
Well, he certainly was. In the warm-up, he was doing a great job at throwing the ball downfield like that. He had a little bit of wind in his back, so it'll be interesting to see if he can use that. Take maybe a couple steps, to throw the ball like a javelin throw would do.
By the looks of it, we'll see no such thing. But it was interesting to talk about. Instead, he just takes a knee, and that'll do it. For the first half, the 104th Yates Cup. The McMaster Marauders in front of a sellout crowd. People lined up all around, lead it 11-5. Let's send it down to Elliot Friedman. Elliot?
Thank you, Tim. I'm here with Queens head coach Pat Sheehan. Pat, you guys did a great job on John Behe. Forced him out of the game. Did anything Zaremba do really fool you on that last drive?
Well, I think basically, you have to understand, the more opportunities McMaster gets out there with their machine, the more efficient they become. So I think our defense has done a pretty good job. Actually, I'm ecstatic where the defense is playing. It's the other side of the ball, I think, that's really got to improve. They've done a great job covering Brad. Ian made a great play. We're just a little bit off in the passing game. We've had this happen to us before, and we bounced back in the second half. So that's what I'm calling right here.
That's good to see that you're still optimistic, but I'm wondering about the beating that Dennison has taken. He's a bit banged up. Is there anything you can do against the McMaster pass rush? He didn't see this pressure from Western last week.
No, that's right. We're going to have to plug it up a little bit and block them a little better than we did. So good to get the kicks out. The butterflies are gone. We'll play 30 minutes for the final.
All right, thank you very much, Pat. Good luck in the second half. That is Queens head coach Pat Sheehan. Just a couple of injury notes for McMaster, Von Swart, and for Queens. Andrew Mode each went down the last possession. Both players are okay, and they both will return in the second half. Still to come, the coach's tip of the week. MAC 11, Queens 5 at the half.